All right, welcome to another episode of 30 Minutes with dailystraits.com. This is your host, June Ramli. Our guest today is Stanley Henry of The Attention Seeker. Founded in 2019, The Attention Seeker is an expert digital marketing agency in New Zealand, focusing exclusively on LinkedIn for B2B reputation building and lead generation. Co-founded by Henry, a former services experience general manager in the F&B director, with over 15 years experience from which he has developed a deep expertise and skills in the service delivery industry. In September 2019, 40.8% of all New Zealanders were on LinkedIn, translating to just over 2 million users. In January 2021, the total number of LinkedIn users in New Zealand had grown to 2.3 million. In Australia, over 37% of that population, or 10 million people, are registered as LinkedIn users, with more than half logging in every month to the site. So without further ado, let's bring Stanley to the show and ask him about the benefits of having a well set up LinkedIn account. Hi, Stanley. Thank you for joining us and welcome to the show. How are you today?
Yeah, thanks for having me, June. Really appreciate you having me here. I'm doing really well today. Keeping busy. Yeah.
Awesome. So let us dive right into the question. So you were previously a hotelier, and then you came back from overseas, and then you were wondering what to do, right? And then you sort of stumbled on this LinkedIn kind of thing. You set up your first LinkedIn account, and then what happened? How did the business side of it come about? Like, how did you get a start?
Yeah, good question. So as a hotelier and a general manager, you do generally manage a hotel. And so you do need to know how to do every facet of the business. So one big part of a business in hotel is corporate clients and event business. And so as part of learning how to find new clients, I've stumbled upon using LinkedIn as a tool to do that in the hotels. That's what taught me how to use LinkedIn to generate business and build a brand. And then when I moved back to New Zealand to start my own business, I was still trying to figure out what value I could add to the marketplace. And so I met a lot of people. I was having, 5 or 6 coffees with different people each day, a networking event every night. And that led into me having people ask me, Stanley, how are you finding all these people to talk to and connecting with people and stuff? And I said, well, I'm obviously using LinkedIn. How else do you do it? And a lot of people looked at me blankly and said, like, isn't that for recruitment? Like, why would you be using LinkedIn to find clients? And that's when I realized that New Zealand, at least, was a little bit behind the times of the rest of the world and where they were using LinkedIn. And so I realized that there's probably something here. And then that evolved over time to more and more people. And then I eventually realized that what I did for myself in terms of building my personal brand, putting out content, and connecting with people and building communities, I could turn that into a product that I could execute on behalf of other people. And so we just built a team around us and slowly brought on more and more people to help me do that. And and then that's sort of just kicked off pretty much from lockdown last year to today. It's just taken off.
So who's the other founder? Her name is Carrie, right? How did she get into the business?
Claire. So no, Claire's my partner. She's my girlfriend and my partner. And so we moved here together from Australia. And originally she started off when we first moved to New Zealand, she was doing working as a mortgage broker. And then as my business started to sort of blossom, we sort of made the decision that, look, it's better that our efforts are combined and we both work solely on this one business, given how well it's going. And so pretty much from about March this year, she's come full time over to us. But yeah, and that's how, so she's a lot in the background of the business. She's not as attention seeking as I am. So she's out in the background helping me out with all the operations.
All right. So in 2019, right? So tell us, like, from the time you started doing this coffee meetups and all that, right? And the time you decided to start a business. So who was your first client? Like, how did that happen?
Yeah, I didn't get my first real client until January 2020. And so from October to January. And I got that through all the networking that I'd done through LinkedIn. So I met a bunch of people and they invited me to networking events. And I met a particular gentleman who we're still, his name's Yusuke, we're still really close now. They do work for us still and we do work for them. And he became my first client in that space, in the LinkedIn space. And I didn't get another client until March. So it was like a long gap between him and the next client. And then lockdown happened and I lost. And I just started to bring on some more clients and they were all about to pay their invoices and lockdown happened. And I didn't get another client until May. So it was like a really long, and then from May, it's been really busy since May. It just started to snowball. But that first client was just from networking through LinkedIn, using LinkedIn to meet people and them introducing me to other people until I finally met Yusuke who came on board.
Awesome. Okay, tell me, what about why focus on LinkedIn? You did say they were behind, right? But there are other stuff like Instagram and, but what was the LinkedIn? Why on LinkedIn?
Yeah, it's a really good question and something we often speak about. So every social platform has its audience, and the same person can be on each platform, and they're a different audience when they're on each of those platforms. So the way you use Instagram is not necessarily the same way that you use LinkedIn or TikTok or even YouTube. And so when people are on LinkedIn, they have their professional hat on. They're portraying themselves as a professional out in the workplace. And that's the audience that I was trying to find. And it's the audience that my clients are trying to find. So if your audience are, business professionals, business owners, people in the capacity of their work, then LinkedIn is a very good place to do that. And the data or the cleanliness of the data is really good. So we're on Facebook, many people, or Instagram, they can put all sorts of job titles and things that don't really matter because it's a bit of fun. But on LinkedIn, you can't really do that. It really does have to be your real job and what you're really doing, which means when you're trying to find people, it's much easier to find the people you want to talk to and build an audience with. So fundamentally, that's why we choose LinkedIn, because the audience is there, and that's the audience that we want to speak to is there, and the audience that my customers want to speak to is there.
Okay, so you are now focusing on B2B organizations, right? Like, is it because, what would be the 3 top reasons a B2B organization would want to hire you? Like, why would they want to take you? Because posting stuff on LinkedIn, anyone can do it. Like, you just write something and then you just post it and then put a photo or a video. But why hire your company?
Yeah, good question. I mean, we obviously have to answer this a lot to our customers, but it really comes down to 2 things, actually. And I think it's a lot in most organizations, it's time and money. And we only have limited amounts of both of them. And where do you want to spend those to get the return that you need? So most people come to us when either they need to find a lot of new business fast, they may have a gap to fill in the market, or they may have lost some sales or whatever. So there's people who need business quickly. And then there's people who want to build brand for long term, who are doing well now, but want to build that brand for the long term so they continue to do well in the future. And those are the 2 main reasons to come to us, but it's to save them time and money. So anyone can post. Of course they can. It's not hard. Actually, LinkedIn makes it very easy to do so, but it takes a lot of time to learn how to write good posts and how to come up with all the themes and the pillars and the conversations that you want to have, getting photos and video and all the things that you want to do. That takes a lot of time. Or you can use money to do it instead and buy back your time. And that's essentially the way we look at it, that we are not for everyone. There are some businesses that are a lot smaller who actually you don't have the money, but you do have the time. So for those businesses, we often teach them and we give them lots of stuff. We don't charge them. We're pretty open. We have a lot of playbooks and guides on how to do what we do. So to your point, where can't everyone do it? Yeah, they can. And we actually help people do it themselves. We're trying to look for people who want to buy time back. And we're trying to save them time so they can keep doing what they do best, or go home to their loved ones at night and hand over that responsibility to us to help, build their brand for them.
Awesome. So in the Instagram world, we can buy followers. What about in LinkedIn?
Yeah, interesting question. So I don't know actually if you can. I'm assuming you probably can, because why wouldn't you be able to? You can do it on Instagram and everything else. I guess maybe the better question is, if you could, why is it bad? And it's a real interesting point, because a lot of people look at buying followers on Instagram as a bad thing, like it's inauthentic and it's not real and it's cheating. But it depends, I guess, on your aims. What are your aims? Some influencers, for instance, their goal is to build as big an audience as possible. So brands pay them to post. So it's just a very good investment to buy followers. And it can work in the snowball sort of effect. And it's no real different to advertisers or companies buying advertisement placements or influencers to do stuff, right? You're essentially buying the influencer's audience when you give them money to post about your brand. So I don't know if you can on LinkedIn. No one's ever approached me, but I'm not opposed to it. I wouldn't do it myself because it doesn't suit my aims. My aims isn't to get a big following. My aim's to get a really engaged following, because I'm looking for B2B clients. I'm not looking for people to buy shoes off of me. I'm looking for them to, our clients spend $20,000, $40,000, $50,000 a year with us, not $200 for a new pair of Nikes. So I think it all depends on your aims. But look, yeah, to answer your question quickly, I'm not sure if you can do it on LinkedIn, but I'm assuming you could find someone who would take your money to do it.
Yeah, but they don't do it on, it's not advisable to do it on Instagram because these are all robots, right? You buy robots or inactive accounts, stuff like that.
You do, but what it does is it tricks the psychology of other followers to go, oh, they've got lots of followers that I'm going to follow too. So it's used as like a base point to, I got a lot of followers, I should follow too. And that's human psychology. We want to follow the crowd. We're all, it's real natural human behavior to follow the crowd. So by buying followers over time and showing other people that, hey, this person's following is growing, that's why it can be used. But look, it's not that I agree with it. I just, depending on your goals, I can see why some people do.
Okay, so can you tell me these B2B clients, are they all tech or what kind of industry are they in?
Nah, not really. Actually, a lot of tech companies only make a small portion of our portfolio. So a lot of them are professional services. So accountants, coaches, people inside the stress and mindfulness space, people who like education companies. Lots of education companies actually are a big part of our segment. There is, mortgage advisors, there's insurance. So a lot of professional services on that side, manufacturing businesses as well, people who manufacture products for other businesses and things like that. So tech companies are there, but often tech companies are looking for scale. And so they just run ad campaigns, which is good because that's what they're looking to do. They're looking for small, lots and lots of clients paying them a small amount every month. Whereas most of our clients, the majority of them are looking for a small amount of clients paying them a lot of money at once. So there's two different ways to do it. Ads are better off when you want volume, and that's one thing we can help people with. But a lot of our clients are people who only need a few clients every year, maybe 5 or 10 clients every year, but each client's paying them, $100,000, $200,000, $300,000.
Awesome. Okay, tell me about, is your company looking at doing other social media platforms? It looks like you're just doing LinkedIn at the moment, but there's a huge wave on TikTok right now. Everybody's into TikTok, and it's kind of engaging. And I read a report that says that 1 billion users on TikTok alone. So are you into that, or is this going to be LinkedIn for now?
Yeah, look, it's an interesting thing to think about. So, one of the big goals of our company is to find the cheapest attention we can, right? That's the whole point of the name, attention seeker, seek out cheap attention. And TikTok is by far one of the cheapest places to find attention. However, there is, again, time versus money. And so for us, we didn't have the time or the money to invest in TikTok to start with. And LinkedIn was providing enough of a return to begin with. But yeah, look, absolutely. We do want to do more things on more platforms, TikTok being one of them. I know that the guys on my team have been joking about how they will start to do some stuff. I think they're going to start pranking me on it or something like that, but they'll, there is a way, and it's a different audience and it's a different style of content to LinkedIn. Will we do it for other customers? I'm not sure. We do create a lot of content. So if a client came to us and said, hey, I want to create content for TikTok, then yeah, look, we probably would if they're willing to pay us for that. But, I think personally, it's good for us to be on all platforms. So we put stuff out on YouTube, we put stuff on Instagram and Facebook. TikTok will eventually come, and obviously LinkedIn, we're everywhere. But doing it for other clients, I think it's really important to stick to a niche. I think that in a business, if you try to do everything, you do nothing essentially. So it's better to do one thing really well than lots of things mediocre. But you never know, we might grow big enough that we have enough people in the team to be able to do every different social media properly. But yeah, look, it's just one of those things. I'm not opposed to it. It's just not yet on the horizon to do it for other companies. Yeah.
Okay. So tell me, how does your company charges? Like, like if a client comes to you, right, and says, okay, I think you haven't delivered. Do you have money back guarantees, that kind of thing? Because in the Instagram world, a lot of Instagram influencers have been called out to be bogus people. So I'm not sure how it is on LinkedIn,
Yeah, we definitely do. And I think reputation and brand is too important for us to not do it. So for instance, a lot of our clients sign on with us because of me or someone in my team that they have a personal connection with because of the brand that we're building on LinkedIn, our personal brands. And if that personal brand was to be tarnished, that would really slow down our ability to onboard new clients into the future. So if we didn't deliver for a client, or they didn't think that we delivered for them in any which way, we would be more than happy to give their money back. And in the early days when I first started, I had to do that once before. A client they didn't feel comfortable with what we were doing. They got a bit scared because they're putting themselves out there on LinkedIn, and they sort of got cold feet about it. So we'd done all the work and we started putting their content out. They asked us to stop. And I just said, look, we have only done 2 weeks. Here's your money back. Like, I don't want you to feel like you've been ripped off. They ended up saying to me, hey, let's just split the difference and go half. You've done some work already. So I'm more than happy to give the money back if a client doesn't think I'm doing the work that they paid for. But luckily, it hasn't really happened to us. And I think it's really important to set expectations at the start of your engagement with clients. What is it that you think you're getting from this money you're spending with me? What is it that you need in return? And a really big part of our discovery sessions with clients at the beginning is to determine that, really understand what their aims are. What are you trying to do? What are you trying to achieve? And how can we help you do that? And try not to overpromise. We try not to say, they might ask for all these things. Oh, I want 100 new clients in a month. I'm like, okay, well, I can't help you do that. If you can find someone who can, let me know, because I'll do business with them too, because I want that. But just make them more realistic to say, hey, this is what I'm confident in delivering this. And often our clients will ask us for some form of guarantee to say, okay, Stan, I would like to have 20 meetings with potential clients over the next 2 months. Okay, I think I can do that for you. So I'm willing to guarantee that. And if we can't, I'll work for free to get it, or we'll find out a way to do a refund so that you feel comfortable and you can walk away. So yeah, I'm happy to do it. We just got to set those real clear expectations at the beginning so each party knows what they're getting into.
Okay, so how do they do business with you? You give them a free consultation for an hour, you map up everything, and then you tell them what's the fees. Do they need to sign like a contract with you for 12 months retainer? Like, how do you work?
Yeah, good question. So we start off with, whenever I meet new people to start with and they want to talk about us helping, I always just ask a series of questions so I can get to understand the problem that they're facing. Often when we talk to them at the beginning, is a part of what we just spoke about, understanding their aims. Sometimes they don't have a problem with leads and marketing and brand. They have a problem with sales. So it's a good filtration to be able to say, hey, you need to go do that. But then with our clients, once we do have them on and we know all the problems that they have, so we obviously, that's free. They haven't signed a contract at that point. We'll come back with a proposal to show them, to say, hey, these are the things that we will do. And then we initially sign people up for 6 months. So we always say, ask people to commit to 6 months. We say it usually takes that as a minimum to start to see returns from a branding campaign and an ad campaign. And then we just have a monthly retainer that they work on. And so obviously our goal is to do as great a job as we can in there to keep them on long-term and work with them continuously. But then what we do is also always start with the minimum amount of work to do with the client. We don't try to tell clients to do too much too soon. A lot of clients will come to us, they want to be famous, or they want to be their brand really big, and they want to do a podcast and this and that and this. And we say, like, you can't do that yet. You have no audience. Like, we need to build this up slowly. Otherwise, you're just going to spend a lot of money with us, and I'll take your money, but it's not going to give you the outcome that you're looking for. So let's start small and steady steps, and we'll build up over time. And as you build your audience and your reputation online, we can add in a podcast, and we can add in video, and we can add in this and that and this. And so it slowly builds up over time. Yeah.
Okay, so for someone who does want to do things on their own, what would be some of your tips for a well-kept LinkedIn account? You see, LinkedIn is very expensive, especially if you want to go premium. Even the cheapest one is $59 a month.
Yeah.
And a lot of people have the free accounts. And
Yep.
I don't know, could you just tell us maybe the benefits of going, of doing some stuff on free? Do you all your clients that you sign up with, are they all on premium? Or
Yeah. When you sign up with us, we subscribe you to Sales Navigator as part of your retainer with us. So we pay for that for our clients, and it is expensive. And what I say to people trying to do it themselves is, I say, first of all, try to do everything we're going to teach you on the free account, because you can do most of it on the free account. You'll eventually start to get notifications from LinkedIn saying, hey, you've reached limits. If you continue to get those limits, then get a free trial. So LinkedIn will always give you a free trial for at least 1 month. If you know some people like me, if you ask me, we've got referral codes for 2 months and stuff like that, because we do a lot with LinkedIn. So you could get 2 months to trial it. If you continue to keep using it that much for that 2 months, then it makes sense to subscribe. But most people don't use it enough to warrant spending the money on premium. So I try to tell most people, cancel your premium subscription. You're probably not using it. You can do a lot on the free account. So that'd be my first advice around the premium. Only get it if you need it. Don't just jump into it because everyone else has it. The second thing I think on LinkedIn is it's all about connections. It's all about building your audience, and it's a mutual connection. So when you ask someone to connect with you, they have to accept that connection, which means that they're essentially saying to you, yep, I would like to connect with you and build both of our networks, right? So it's very different to Instagram, where you follow someone and maybe they follow you back, or maybe not. So on LinkedIn, you can curate your audience, and I highly recommend this to people. What I don't recommend is connecting with people and try to sell to them straight away in the messages. That doesn't work. A lot of people get annoyed with that when you connect with them and you send them a big long message afterwards trying to sell them some product. That doesn't work. And if you think about networking events, when you're at a real person networking event, you don't do that to people in person. So don't do it to them online. Instead, what we try to say is just find and search for the type of people that you want to have conversations with, and try start conversations with them. So try build that network up, build your connections. Don't overdo it. Just build the ones that are quality. And then once you are connected with them, start commenting and engaging with them on LinkedIn. Put up your own post, do as many as you can. We try to say do at least one a day, Monday to Friday. Not everyone can do that, but just try be consistent. But more importantly, just comment on other people's posts. People don't realize how powerful that is on LinkedIn. By commenting on someone else's post, all of your audience, or a lot of your audience, is going to see that you commented. LinkedIn's going to show them, because that's the way LinkedIn uses its content. So on Instagram, if you comment on someone's post, Instagram doesn't tell me that my follower commented. It just shows me other people's posts. But on LinkedIn, if I go onto my newsfeed, it'll show me a post that one of my followers commented on, and it'll tell me that they commented. So that's really powerful. So then my followers start to see me commenting on other people's stuff, and they can then engage in that conversation as well. It can go back and forth. So that's the second thing I would do, is once you've connected people, start engaging with them, put out content, comment. And then the third and final thing on LinkedIn that most people are too scared or nervous to do is to ask people for an actual coffee or video call or anything like that. It's a professional environment. If you're at a networking event in person and you say to someone, hey, we should grab a coffee next week, they will probably say, yeah, let's do it. What's your calendar look like? Let's book in some time. And the same applies on LinkedIn. If you've built up this professional relationship with someone on the platform, and then you reach out to them and say, hey, would you like to actually grab a real coffee? Or in today's COVID world, if you want to, jump on a call and have a video call, most people will say yes. And, we can show from our data that it's upwards of 90% that will say yes to that invitation to have a virtual call or a coffee with you. And by doing that, you're strengthening the community that you're building on LinkedIn. And those people will start to tell their friends about you and their colleagues and things like that. And you start to build that brand and that audience. So a big part of what we tell our clients to do is we can connect you with people, we can put out your content, we can help build your brand, but we can't speak for you. We can't be the one having those coffees for you. You need to do that part. And so we help them facilitate that. But by doing all of those three things, you can build a really successful business on LinkedIn with very few followers. Like a lot of our clients only have 1,000 to 4,000 followers, and they have, they're generating $1 to $4 million worth of business off the platform every year, just because they are the right type of people they need to speak to.
Awesome. Okay, so tell me about your company's proudest moment today, because this is a new company. It's only like 2 years old. So this is good for you for testimonial, like one company that came to you with really in a bad shape, and then you help them, and then now they're doing really well thanks to you. So any
we've got a few, but one that comes to mind quickly is a client of ours called Drew Knowles. So Drew's company is a global company. They're based out of the US, but Drew is one of the owners of the business, lives here in New Zealand. And he came to me saying that he has no digital presence. Because it's COVID and lockdowns and stuff, he couldn't travel. So he needed a way of connecting with an audience whilst not leaving his home in Auckland. And so we started working with them late last year, started developing his brand and putting out content and whatnot. And that turned into a point where he was able to start doing virtual events and come back to real events earlier this year when we weren't in lockdown. And it grew his business here in New Zealand so much that the US side of the company, so we helped them create an event, because that's part of what we do as well. We helped them create an event, develop it, market it. The money that he earned from that event then helped pay for our marketing for him. So it was like a win-win situation. And his team in the US thought, man, that's been working so well. We want to do the same. So now we have 3 of their team that we're managing their profiles, helping them market. I think it's about 6 events a month that they're now doing throughout US, Australia, and New Zealand. And it's been huge. It's been such a big part of it. We essentially are doing all their marketing for them now. And it's been really helpful for this company because they are so used to traveling. They're so used to going to every city, meeting people, holding these small little webinar, educational events, and then signing up clients through that process. Whereas we were able to help them do this digitally and build a brand professionally online, take their in-person reputation, which they have really good ones, and transfer that online. So it's been a real success. And they've been with us now a little bit over a year. And as I said, we've got 3 of them, the CEO included. And from that, actually, because we have a lot of similar clients, similar styles of clients, I've been able to refer them a lot of business from my clients who needed their help, and vice versa. They've been able to refer me a lot of clients. So it's been a real proud moment because I built a really close friendship with Drew. And we've obviously helped both each other build each other's businesses by us doing our job with him, and him by referring a lot of his clients to us, which has been great.
Awesome. Okay, one final question, Stanley. What do you think about Snapchat?
Look, Snapchat, I've never used it. So I use most social medias. I don't have any problem with Snapchat, but when I guess it was at its peak, I wasn't using it a lot because I wasn't using a lot of social media at the time.
But do companies need to care about Snapchat in today's world?
Yeah, well, I guess I was thinking is probably not. Like, I guess if you're really big and you've got multi-channels you need to do, there's a certain size when, yes, it makes sense to spend that money on Snapchat. I think for a lot of smaller to medium-sized businesses, it doesn't make sense. I don't think I think there's better ways to spend that money than Snapchat. But like everything in life, there's a diminishing returns. So if you're doing Google and Facebook and LinkedIn and all these things, at some point, you're going to get a diminishing return for your money spent in those platforms. Snapchat then might be the better place to put your money. You might get a lot more return on that money because you've already saturated all the other platforms. So my answer is most people no. For the guys who have saturated all the other platforms, then yeah, you may as well. It'll probably get you a better return than what you're currently doing on other platforms if you spent more there.
Awesome. So that is all the time that we have for today. We have just been speaking to the co-founder of the Attention Seeker, Stanley Henry. Thank you, Stanley, for joining us today.
Cool. Thank you so much, June, for having me. I really appreciate it. Look forward to it.
Awesome. The pleasure is all ours. Be sure to join us soon as we interview another awesome entrepreneur from across the Tasman. Thank you very much.
Cheers. See ya.